Welcome back to the St. Pete by Night Twitch stream where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition chronicle set in the world of darkness, including Vampire the Masquerade, including Hunter the Reckoning, and tonight's chronicle, including Werewolf the Apocalypse. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. You shouldn't follow me on social media, though. What you should do is go follow St. Pete by Night on all of these amazing locations listed down below. And if you're not caught up on our episodes of Rage Across Tampa, you should go check them out on YouTube, or you can watch them on Twitch as well. You just got to go down to the highlights. We have a whole nice little playlist there for you so you can catch up and get in on all of the action of St. Pete by Night, and more specifically, Rage Across Tampa. But I couldn't do this alone, of course, because then I'd just be talking to myself. And if you want to see more of that, all you got to do is tune into After Dark most weeks on Saturdays, where that is a majority of the content you'll see. It's just me talking to myself. So, let's introduce the amazing players that make up St. Pete by Night, Rage Across Tampa. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, I'm Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the lupus born of the Gale Stalkers.
Hi everybody, I'm Champagne, Champ, Queen Fairy of the Night Court, whatever you want to call me. I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi everybody, I am Nori, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Now, unfortunately, our dear Theurge Simon was unable to join us tonight, but hopefully, if all goes well, he'll be back with us next week so he can attend Her Fairy Majesty and the court that makes up Rage Across Tampa. Last week, you had an opportunity to speak once again to Ryder and to kind of, using diplomacy, confront him about his actions some months prior at the energy plant and the negative effects it had had on your pack, on the city, and more specifically on Jester. It was a surprising encounter, to say the very least, as it may have gone not as anyone really had expected, as rather than being confronted by the roaring party that the motorcycle club usually was, it was in fact an all but abandoned building and just Ryder himself. An agreement was forged between the pack and Ryder that in exchange for the cost, to make up for the cost of the incidents of the energy plant and the wrongful arrest and imprisonment of Stheno, the hacktivist organization, he would provide protection in the prison itself, as well as a means of communication between the outside world and the inmates of Stheno that were trapped inside. A communique was written up and sent off to the prisoners within, but no response has yet been received. Aiden, you also reached out last week to your mentor to kind of check in on what the activity was going on down in Oregon relating to your family, who is believed to be kept against their will, almost imprisoned in their own right within a cosmetics company that used to supposedly have ties to an animal testing company that is supposedly no longer active after Aspen did a great deal of research into the topic. But there's a lot more research to be had, and you also find yourself waiting. So for this week's story, we are going to break you up into individuals and tell individual stories of how you are spending your time waiting, of what the events are that are occurring as you kind of keep your heads down, try to stay focused on the tasks at hand, but also are kind of stuck in a holding pattern until you can determine where to act next. Tonight, we are going to start with Jester. Jester, you reached out not just to your friends in Stheno, in jail, but you also reached out to your boyfriend, Leon, who you, at this point, haven't seen in easily 6 to 8 weeks, ever since the events of the explosion when you decided to go into hiding and kind of ducked out of sight and went camping to kind of avoid any bad attention, during which time your friends were caught, all but you, and a manhunt was called to find you. Eventually, you were convinced to return to the pack, and then you took your trip into the Umbra, and you've been staying with Artie ever since. You wrote a letter trying to explain to Leon your disappearance and why you couldn't continue to see him because you feared for any potential problems that could come his way. You left the letter at your home, trying to get away undetected, unnoticed, and seemingly were able to do so. A few days have passed since you left the letter, and on this particular evening, Aspen and Artie are inside furiously researching, and Artie has asked you to go out and try and pick up something to snack on and maybe another pack of energy drinks for him, as you know he loves them so much. So as you depart and head outside, going to climb into Regina to take her to the corner store, as she has seemed to have taken a fondness to you and allows the vehicle to start even if you're just the driver. You head your way out to the vehicle, but you see, leaned up against the hood of the Jeep, is Leon. Leon can be described as a man in his late 20s, potentially a really, really youthful looking early 30s, normally clean shaven and with a kind of handsome innocence to him. He looks like he hasn't slept in probably days. The kind of darkened circles of bags under his eyes, a little bit of a stubble growing on his jawline, and you can see that the clothes he's wearing, he's probably slept in at least once. And if they were washed, they were likely not hung up. They were instead left in a pile on the floor, only to gain more wrinkles. As soon as he sees you kind of emerge and come into the parking lot from this kind of studio apartment that Artie lives in, he kind of pushes himself off the hood. Jess!
I will freeze. Leon, what do you... And then I will immediately look around.
Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness roll. Two successes. So on first glance, kind of allowing your eyes to adjust a little bit, because the inside of Artie's apartment is often kept very dark except for the glow of the monitor screens, all of the windows kind of being covered up on a constant basis. You don't see anybody apparently nearby. You don't see any other vehicles that seem to be suspicious other than those who use the parking lot as well for their various apartments or businesses. There doesn't seem to be anything else out of place.
I will hurry over to him. What are you doing here?
Looking for you.
Were you followed?
Kind of looks back over his shoulders both ways. I don't think so.
Get in the car.
Okay. He walks over to the passenger side and he jerks at the handle of the car of the Jeep a few times, which doesn't seem to open, even though you know it to be unlocked. Until with one final jerk, it kind of comes open with a groan.
Be gentle with her. She's a little touchy.
Whose car is this?
It's a friend's.
Okay. And he climbs into the passenger seat.
Oh, whisper as I'm going. Be easy on him, Regina. Please. And hop into the driver's seat.
I'm gonna have you give
Fumble
me
with
a charisma and persuasion on that.
Four successes.
4 successes. Okay. As you get in and go to kind of fumble with the starter, making to look like you're going to start the car, even though you've never actually had to turn over the car before. You've never seen Artie actually turn over the car before. As you kind of touch the starter area where there seems to be a screwdriver that's just jammed in to the starting area itself, the Jeep sparks to life. And a song immediately comes on over the radio, which is Elton John's "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Bless
Very
him. It's
opposing to the usual soundtrack that Artie listens to in the car. It seems that the radio station has kicked on to an oldies station.
I'll raise an eyebrow at the radio and then look to Leon. It's really good to see you.
It's good to see you
Did
too.
Did you get my letter?
He kind of opens his denim jacket and reaches into a pocket and pulls out a piece of paper which looks like it has been folded and unfolded several times, that the creases are very visible. Yeah, I'm glad you wrote it. But it's been a while, Jess. I mean,
I
you
didn't
haven't come
mean-
home, you didn't call, you didn't text, you just disappeared. And then I have the cops coming looking for you, which, don't worry, I didn't tell them anything, but I didn't really know what to tell them, even if I had something to tell them. You were just gone. Did I do
would-
something wrong?
No. I'm involved in what seems to be some very dangerous things.
Yeah, I saw something on the news, and then I saw Chloe and the others got picked up. I heard your name on a most, like, what are you getting into? You've never done anything like this before.
Let's
I mean-
just say I'm feeling some repercussions from a contact I have. And the lead prosecutor, Bateman, is using it against me because he doesn't. A few weeks ago, he approached me and tried to bribe me or something to stop me from talking about a particular corporation he works for. I told him to fuck off. And so I think he has it out for me now.
I know I don't have to. I don't even feel the need to ask this, but just to get it out there, you didn't do it, right? Like, you're not doing. You didn't do the things they're accusing you guys of.
No, I didn't. I wouldn't hurt people like that.
I didn't think so. That's not you. But also disappearing without a word, being gone for almost 2 months. You missed the holidays. I mean, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I didn't even know if I was going to see you, but I'd had enough and I had to come find you. I mean, if you're in trouble, Jess, we can get help. We can find some lawyers or something to help you out. Wasn't there that one lawyer that was helping you out before?
Yes, I have some lawyers that are working on it. It's just taking a while. But right now, I am trying to avoid being caught.
What would happen if you did? I mean, I could try and scrape the bail money together or something. I mean, They're
I
saying
have
you're evading arrest and now they're having manhunts. Like, isn't that just making things worse?
maybe, but these people aren't operating under. They're using the law as a cover.
Are they dangerous?
Yes, they're very dangerous. And I think if I'm caught, I may never be seen again.
What if we just left? We could just skip town, head out to the
I
West
can't.
Coast or something and start over.
I can't abandon my friends, and I'm pretty sure some of these people's reach is farther than just the city, especially if they're naming me a terrorist.
Leon just kind of sits in silence for a few minutes as you guys pull out of the parking lot and start driving.
I'm gonna put a hat on and some sunglasses and like pull my hair back.
What do you need me to do? I mean, I can't just pretend I don't know where you are. I mean, I'm a part of this. We're partners. We're supposed to do this together. No matter what amount of trouble you get in, Jess, I will always be here for you and I'll do everything I can to help you.
I just don't want you to get hurt.
I don't want you to get hurt. For all I knew, you were dead in a ditch somewhere. Until I got your letter, I had no idea what had happened to you. Nobody did.
I know, and I'm sorry. I'd meant to just take a day or two, a few days camping. And then when I got back, I heard the news. And it seems like they might be manipulating or monitoring electronic communication, so I couldn't call you.
But you could write me sooner than now.
I'm really bad at this. Relationships. Like,
I know, we've talked about that.
yeah. There are things in my life I can't talk about. I will never be able to talk about,
Not even with me.
even with you. There are promises I have made. And keeping those promises, honoring the people that represent those promises is very important to me. But I understand if you can't deal with that.
I didn't come here to break up with you, Jess. I've always known that there's a checkered past and an even more checkered future being with you. And honestly, sometimes it's exciting. And I'm not going to give up on it if it's as dangerous as you say, and you know I believe you. I'm not going to give up on you for doing what you think is best. I'm allowed to be mad, okay?
Yes. And if you want to yell at me, I completely understand. I'm very sorry.
I'm not going to yell at you. I'm just glad you're okay. Every night I was waiting to hear something from you, or worse, something about you. Or even worse than that, what actually happened, nothing at all. I thought about filing a missing persons, but we've talked about trying to keep things off the books with you as much as possible, and after the cops came and started asking questions, I thought it would be best to try and keep a low profile, but I walked around, I biked around, I drove around trying to find you, checking out all the usual haunts, and you were just
I've been
a ghost.
avoiding those. I've been avoiding the usual haunts. How did you find me?
Well, when you came and dropped the note off, I saw the car, and I started looking for the car because I knew that you were safe, or at least alive. I started checking, you know, places people would go to get lost, I guess, or to disappear. And I guess I got lucky this time.
I'll pull the car into the to a gas station. Let Regina idle, and I'll reach over and hug him.
He hugs you, a little bit apprehensive at first, but then you can feel the hug tighten, almost like a vice grip, although to you it feels fairly weak considering some of the things you've encountered and been through recently. But you can tell that the intention and the intensity, more importantly, is there.
Some of the tension that has just sat in my body will slightly release, and I'll start to cry. And it will lead into like big sobs.
He kind of holds you tight and then releases one of his hands from the vice grip around you and kind of starts patting your hair. It's okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be okay.
I don't think it's ever going to be okay. But it's better to know that you're still here for me.
I always will be. As long as you'll not pull a disappearing act like that again. I'm not as good at this investigation stuff as you are. I just really got lucky this time. This car kind of stands out, and with that, you hear the engine cough a little bit.
I'll lean over and pet her. She's one of a kind.
I guess. Who is Artie? And the license plate says Artie. Who is that?
Artie's a friend of mine. He's helped me out a lot since I've been in the city. We're a bit like family.
Should I be jealous?
Oh no, no. I think he has his eyes on someone else. And besides, it's not like that with Artie. He's more like the messy brother that I never had.
Do you trust him?
Yes. I trust him with my life.
So what can I do? I can't sit on the sidelines like this. I can't not see you. What do you need me to do?
Maybe we can find a place to meet in quiet and secret. Maybe none of our old haunts, but find a new one. And
clandestine secret dates?
yeah. You said you wanted some adventure.
This is a little bit more than I bargained for. I was thinking like, a road trip out to Orlando. Or maybe, go hiking in the Everglades. I wasn't expecting manhunts and police and, news reports about you, but yeah, I'd like that.
I wasn't expecting the manhunt either. I'm trying to get my friends exonerated.
How's that coming?
It's slowly, very slowly. It's almost like it's like a crawl, honestly. I've barely been able to get any information.
Well, yeah, they're looking for you. You're not exactly going to be able to go check court records or anything like that. can't go into the police station and ask questions.
No, I can't.
I could.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that.
I'll be your guy in the field, your contact, maybe less of a problematic contact than apparently your last one that caused all this, but I can help.
You are so much better than that last contact.
What okay. What happened exactly? Like what went on that caused all this? I mean, I get that you're being framed, but like how did this mess even start?
The contact I had was looking into the power plant for some corruption that was going on and asked for help. I went to Steno to see what information they could get, which I got back to the contact. I did not know there was a planned explosion.
Why a power plant of all places? That's not your guys' usual deal. Like, I mean, you've looked into some factories and waste stuff, but that caused a huge outage. We lost power for days.
There was apparently some indication that they were connected to the corporation we've been looking into. I've been publicly decrying. And that's where our connection was. And then after the explosion, I just needed some few days away from everything. And I should have contacted you. And I'm very sorry I didn't
You
at that
you
point. I really should have, I know.
I might be mad, but I already forgave you before we even saw each other, okay? I know you wouldn't do anything that you didn't think was necessary. It scared me, that's all. I'm not even mad, I'm just scared for you.
I know. I shouldn't have run away. I have come to that realization in these past few weeks.
Is there a place that you go? Maybe I can know where that is and I can find you if you have to do it again, and then we can skip the whole weirdness of not hearing from each other?
I don't have a set place.
Can we set a place? Maybe even just as
Yeah,
a meeting spot?
we can.
I just need to know you're okay. You are very important to me. And I don't know what I'd do without you. You've made my life better. Stranger, but better. And I don't want to do this without you, whatever all of this is.
You've made my life better too, and I'll take it and squeeze his hand. Utmost, I want to make sure you're safe, but I'm kind of glad you still decided to stay.
It wasn't even a decision necessary. I told you you're important. I told you we're together in this. All things. And, I mean that. If you go down, I go down.
Let's not have that.
No, because you're the malicious jester. You're way smarter than these cops or these lawyers or these company owners, you'll always figure a way out. I just want to support you any way that I possibly can.
Um, I'll give him the campsite I originally went to as a meetup place.
Okay. I'll try not to Google it. I'll go buy an atlas or something so I can find it so that, you know, nothing gets given away. If you say the electronics are bugged, they probably have my shit.
Hold on. I'll reach in my purse and pull out like a tiny little notebook and a pen and write out some directions. Hand it to him.
He'll take it and with the letter folded up in the letter and then stick it into his pocket. So what else can I do? I mean, I can go start poking around, maybe keeping an eye on the news and stuff, but how can I help? Can I meet your friends? Maybe I can be a contact to them too?
Let me talk to him.
Okay.
They might be helpful. Definitely think the lawyer might want to meet you. She might have some ideas. She's way smarter than I am.
Smarter at law, maybe. But
Sure, but I think she's really smart. And Artie's really smart too. He's more tech inclined.
yeah, Artie, fine. Really trying to believe that brother thing. But, okay. You know I trust you. I do. Just please don't go that long without contacting me.
I won't. I promise. And promises are important to me.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I probably should. What are we doing here anyway? She kind of looks over at the gas station.
I'm on a snack run.
Okay. Well, hey, here, since you're all probably not working a lot, and he kind of pulls out a wallet and pulls out a few bills and says, snacks are on me. If they've been keeping you safe, I owe them a lot more than this.
I'll kiss him on the cheek. Thanks.
I want a date next week.
Okay.
He kind of reaches over and takes your hands for a moment, looking in your eyes, just kind of studying your face. Go ahead and roll me a wits and insight.
Three successes.
You can sense extreme hesitation, uh, but also adoration in his kind of gaze at you. You could see he's like studying your face, trying to like get every detail of it. And he kind of leans in and gives you a genuine kiss, giving your hands a squeeze before pulling on the door. And this time, for some reason, the door opens way easier. It just almost kind of flings open when he pulls the handle. And he kind of looks at it awkwardly, but then shrugs slightly and climbs out. I'll get an Uber or something home. Please be safe. I love you.
I love you too. I'll leave a message.
Okay. And he closes the door and starts to walk off down the street. With that, we will transition to our next scene. Aiden. It's become kind of a ritual for you each day, as dictated by your patron spirit and your tribe, to find, hunt, and kill something, to devour its flesh, to appease the north wind. On today's hunting trip, you've decided to venture a little bit further out. Your wolf instincts know an overpopulated area or a place that's overhunted tends to draw less and less prey. So you've made kind of a rotation around Lettuce Lake Park, but even expanding out further into Hillsborough State Park. On this particular day, you're out in Hillsborough State Park specifically, a little further to the northeast from Lettuce Lake Park. Go ahead and give me a wits and survival roll as you are kind of trying to enter into a new territory. You still have the instincts of the hunter, but you know you're not going to your usual hot spots to hunt prey.
6 with a crit.
6 successes with a crit. So it's not difficult for you at all. You've decided to challenge yourself a little bit more on this particular hunt. And you've decided, with a little bit of that pent-up frustration, trying to break your mind away from your overly kind of focused efforts on your missing family, you've decided to go after a fellow predator. And this time, that predator appears to be a bobcat. You find the tracks, you follow them until you find a den similar to that you would kind of build for yourself, as bobcats kind of have similar hunting styles and patterns as their fellow predators. You find a den where you catch the whiff of probably a day, 2-day old kill kind of emanating from it, most likely brought back to this particular den. What would you like to do?
The surrounding area, are there any claw marks along the trees or the den itself? Can I tell how long it's been since something was actually in there? The kill was 2 days. Is there any way to tell if the bobcat's been around within the last few hours?
I'll give you a intelligence and survival or wits and investigation. I'll let you choose between the two.
We'll do intelligence and survival.
Okay.
Three.
Okay. So from what you can tell as you examine, you can see that the ground is still somewhat damp, as there was a rain the previous evening. It wasn't a very long rain, but a storm kind of briefly swept through, so you can still feel the dampness of the ground. But to your discovery and to your joy, you can see some tracks within what was mud that has started to dry up. And you can tell that it most likely was last night, that the last time that somebody came to this particular den. You can see the bobcat-sized prints.
Going to I'm going to try and ambush the bobcat. Gonna find a spot, maybe 50 yards ish away where I can still see, but wait for the bobcat to come back.
Okay, go ahead and give me a dexterity and stealth as you are trying to kind of find a good location, maybe some underbrush that you can position yourself in or behind.
4.
4 successes. Okay. So you kind of find a nice thicket to kind of perch yourself in, and you wait, and probably about an hour passes. And during that hour, your thoughts drift, kind of still pulling you westward. You're very grounded. You try to stay as in the moment and in your current situation as possible, but you can't help but think of previous hunts, of previous activity, of creating dens similar to this one with your family. Go ahead and roll me a composure and resolve check to try and keep yourself present despite the fact that these thoughts are tugging away at you.
Can I burn a willpower?
You sure can. Willpower expenditure will allow you to roll up to 3 regular dice, not including your rage, which you are currently at a rage 1.
Four.
4 successes. Okay. So despite the thoughts tugging at you, the time seems to pass a lot faster than it feels. You can feel kind of the sun getting lower on the horizon and dark starting to fall just a little bit. It's not quite sundown yet, but it's getting there. When you hear some tracks off in the woods, go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness to try and locate the source of the footfalls within the woods.
3.
Okay. Well, it's not hard to pinpoint as you kind of focus off to the opposite side of the den, kind of further amongst the trees. You see the bobcat kind of slowly loping and crawling its way towards its den. Doesn't seem to have taken notice of you, however.
Is it making its way towards the den?
Mm-hmm.
Going to approach, try and drift if I can behind it.
Okay, go ahead and give me one more dex and stealth as you're making another move, trying to move into position around behind it.
3.
3 successes. So as you leave your cover and start making your way around, focusing primarily on the bobcat, you feel one of your pads kind of slip in some slick mud, rustling some leaves, and the bobcat immediately whirls around, facing in your direction, and bares its long teeth in a snarl as we enter into combat. We're going to use the traditional 3 rounds and out. If you have the upper hand after the 3 rounds, you will be considered victorious. But if you don't, there may be some repercussions coming. What would you like to do? Declare your intention for the first round.
Now that Bobcat's facing, going to kind of push off of the mud and just lunge forward. Kind of in attempts to knock it off his feet using the mud to advantage that it's slick and try and knock it off balance.
So you're going to try to use the mud under it to try and help kind of lose its footing. Okay, so go ahead and give me... Let's go with dexterity and brawl, since you're looking for something a little more tactful and a little less just pure force rushing into it.
5.
5 successes. Okay. So as you kind of rush it, it also leaps off, coming to meet you, but your strength, your kind of dexterity allows you to get down low enough as it kind of leaps up with both of its claws extending to kind of hit it in the midsection, driving it back ever so slightly and sending it tumbling, but it does regain its footing really well as you do 1 superficial damage to it, sending it tumbling backwards. Declare your intention for the second round.
Okay, going to I'm gonna go for a called shot. Going to try and disable one of its front paws or front legs even, and try and bite down and break its front leg.
So you're actually going with your mouth to try and bite its front
Yep,
leg
try
and
and just
break it. Okay, so since this is a called shot, it will be a strength and brawl, but you will subtract 2 successes from your total success rate.
yep. 7.
7 after the
That's
2 success penalty.
Yeah, that would be a 9 with a crit, but I don't know if crits still carry with a penalty.
Crits still carry, yeah.
So 7 with a crit then.
Okay. So, as you lunge forward, the bobcat isn't quite fast enough to kind of leap up into the same batting stance as it is. So, as it's trying to push off its one leg, its other arm reached up, you manage to grab a hold of that leg and yank, and you can hear kind of the sickening wet crack and wrench of the leg kind of being ripped away from its body and kind of out of its socket as it pops out, and you can hear it yell out in pain as it kind of collapses and tries to start limping away using its other 3 legs to do so, realizing that it is in a very, very bad situation. Final round. Go ahead and declare your intention.
I don't know if I'm gonna get that lucky again. We're just gonna try and just bite at it. Yeah, I'm not calling nothing. Yeah, we're gonna go for a bite.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me one more strength and brawl check.
I burn will on that one.
Mm-hmm.
4.
4 successes. So as you kind of go to try and chase it down as it's starting to move away, you go to leap at it, but even with its hindered paw, it kind of manages to duck out of the way, sending you kind of skidding past it, but also cutting off its path. We will extend this another round because that is not a satisfying finish to a 3 rounds and out. Go ahead and declare your intention.
Going to get some better footing and lunge forward again.
Okay.
Just going for another bite.
All right. Give me a strength and brawl.
6.
Okay. So this time the two of you collide in a mess of claws and fangs and kind of flesh ripping, fur kind of getting torn from the body. But the two of you kind of tumble for a little bit, you definitely getting the upper hand before eventually pinning and taking it down for the kill. Take 2 superficial damage in the rest of the encounter, but you do end up successful as you kill the bobcat. As you're kind of standing over your fallen prey, I'd like you to roll another wits and awareness check.
I don't like the way you said that. 3.
Okay. So as you're primarily focused on your fallen prey, you can't help but hear what sounds like a snap click, almost like a mechanical whirring. And as you look over to the source of the sound, probably like 20, 30 yards away, you see what looks to be a young man, maybe young for you. Definitely younger than you look in your appearance normally, but since you don't really get age ranges yet, that concept's still pretty foreign to you. You see a young man, maybe to Preston in his late teens, maybe like 17, 18 years old. He seems to have what looks to be an old camera, like one of those actual professional grade cameras, and he seems to be ducked behind a tree, but like perched out enough to be getting shots of the action. And upon noticing you, you kind of see him lower the camera. Hey, bud, don't mind me. Just a project for school. Nothing to worry about here.
I feel like I need to do a composure check because wolves have they just kill something are very territorial over the area.
Go ahead, give me a composure and resolve.
Okay. I can burn will on that one too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good. Good. Good.
Oh, you've spent 3 willpower this round, so I don't know
Yeah.
how
I got yeah.
getting dicey.
2.
2 successes. You feel everything in your natural instincts tell you that this is not okay. That this is very, very problematic. So you feel yourself kind of the hair on the back of your neck and all along your back kind of start to stand up as you can't help but feel the growl in your throat start to emanate in an almost kind of menacing gesture. Go ahead and roll me a manipulation and intimidation check.
2.
2 successes. Despite your best efforts to kind of try and declare and communicate your intentions to this individual, they seem completely unfazed. And as you're taking in their appearance a little bit more, they seem to be African American, darker colored skin. They seem to be wearing what looks to be hiking clothes. You can see that they have what looks to be a USF college t-shirt on underneath what looks to be a vest with a strap along that holds the camera, as well as a backpack, some jeans, and some hiking boots. You growl and kind of square off a little bit, but they don't seem to move whatsoever, and even the look on their face doesn't seem to change. Hey, it's okay, buddy. I promise I'm not here to take your food away. That was just easily one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I'm sorry if that made you uncomfortable. Go ahead and give me a wits and insight check, as he is doing Animal Ken.
0.
Okay. With the confidence in his appearance and with his lack of shift in demeanor, that he wasn't cowed by your attempt to intimidate him, you feel the anger kind of diminish and more confusion take its place as you kind of feel your muscles relax a little bit. So what are you doing out here, buddy?
Going to look back at the bobcat and then back to the kid and back to the bobcat.
I know you don't understand me, but hang on. And he kind of pulls this backpack off of his shoulder and unzips it and starts fishing through it. I want to take some more photos, but I want to make sure we're cool first. And you see him kind of pull out what looks to be a brown lunch bag and unroll it. And as he reaches in, he pulls out what appears to be a sandwich that's cut diagonally across, peels off the bread, and kind of discards it off to the side for some birds to eat later, and pulls out some cold cuts off of the sandwich that says, "You hungry?" I mean, I know you got that, but maybe something a little better.
With not sensing any overall ill intent from this kid, he'll cautiously kind of step forward, stretching his nose out, giving some really heavy sniffs, trying to figure out what exactly is in his hand.
Here. He kind of tears what looks to be a piece of ham in half and tosses it like midway between the two of you. It's okay, buddy, I promise. Go ahead and take it.
Cautiously, he'll walk up, give it a good smell, and then barely grab onto it, and then dart back, and then eat it closer to the bobcat.
I'm gonna take some photos, alright? I'm not used to seeing wolves like you around here. You're usually more pack northwest thing, but and he kind of, you could hear the camera click a few times and him adjust it slightly as he's taking photos. But it's kind of cool, honestly. Like, I don't know if this is just a migratory thing or if you're kind of just out here on your own, but I've always had a fascination with it. I won't tell anyone. Don't worry. I'm not going to get you in any kind of trouble. And you can hear he's kind of just talking to himself, but he's doing so in a smooth and rhythmic tone, still kind of pressing upon any of your raising anxiety or, anger at his presence. He seems to take a very intellectual interest in what you're doing. I mean, I get it. I'm an orphan. I don't know if you know what those are, but I've got a college grant because of my photography, and I'm volunteering at the zoo. And I just think you're gorgeous. What a... He kind of tilts his head. Handsome boy you are. Takes another photo.
And more just annoyed about this kid being here. He's going to kind of ignore him and just kind of pull the bobcat a little bit a ways.
Hey,
Still in the overall vicinity, but just kind of pulling it away. And then he's just going to kind of make eye contact with the kid and then just bite into the bobcat right into the midsection, right where the guts are at, and start eating.
man, I never thought I'd share my lunch with somebody without a pane of glass separating us. And he kind of reaches back over to the bag and pulls out a bag of chips and rips it open and starts eating. So what are you doing here?
And at this point, he's digging and then he's ripping through the intestines, getting past all the skin and fur. And his entire head is like inside the bobcat now. The steam coming out of the body as he's just digging into it.
Did you get lost? Or separated? I haven't heard of anybody escaping from anywhere. I'd like to be your friend. I don't have a lot of friends. It'd be nice to have a new one.
He'll kind of perch his head up with the heart in his mouth. Just kind of look over at him, just kind of bite into it,
Are you
and then just go
trying
back in.
again to make him uncomfortable? Like, what's your intention with that? Or are you
No, just letting
eating?
him, just eating at this point. Just he's more keeping an eye on him, making sure he's not getting any closer.
No, you actually see that he seems to have like hunkered down at the base of the tree that he was hiding behind, kind of stretching his feet out in front of him and just has his backpack open and seems to be eating a lunch. You see him pull out a can of soda and pop it open and start drinking it.
Yeah, this vaguely reminds him of the park ranger that he knew back in Oregon in the reserve, and so he just kind of more just wants to make sure he doesn't get any closer, as he is still territory over his fresh kill. But if he's staying right where he's at, he's gonna keep eating.
So as you're eating, kind of trying to focus on the kill, splitting your attention between two things, go ahead and roll me another wits and awareness. as you kind of go to look up from your kill, you feel a chilly wind rush towards you coming from him. As the wind picks up, you can kind of see some of the leaves rustle in the tree, but it seems to kind of brush over you with an almost frigid temperature as it kind of blows past through your fur.
With the wind hitting him, he'll look back to him. Just kind of make eye contact. Look down at his kill. Just kind of do a little shuffle, getting the blood and stuff off of him. And he's going to run off, following the direction that the wind was blowing.
Huh. As you kind of take off, the wind stays with you, but it kind of changes direction until it's blowing against you towards him.
He's going to stop, perplexed by the wind to guide him, and is now pushing towards a human. He's going to run back around it, and from the underbrush, try and stay somewhat hidden, look towards where the kid was at.
When you look back, the kid appears to be gone. But a faint memory stirs. You're at a moot with Duncan. And he's kind of chatting with you. And the conversation seems to steer towards, how did you find me? And Duncan says, well, the wind showed me the way. There's a rite amongst our people. Before I became the alpha, as it were, I was what's called a kin seeker. I'd come and find those that are on the brink of change. And when I saw you, the wind told me what you were going to be. So all I had to do was wait for you to be ready. And with that, we're going to go back to our break for 5 minutes. We'll come back in just a moment for our scene with Aspen. See you all in 5 minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We hope you had a very enjoyable break. Now back to part 3 of tonight's story. Aspen, you have been working diligently to find any leads, any information you can get on both Aiden's lost family and Jester's imprisoned friends. So far, you're finding few footholds on either, but you have found a great bit of information about a possible location to Aiden's family. A factory known as Pangloss, belonging to the makeup company of some renown, a pretty well-renowned company, seems to be in the general vicinity of where you would expect Aiden's family to be. You've enlisted the help of Artie, who has been doing everything in his technological capability to try and find any answers, including many, many late nights spent at Artie's apartment as he sits in front of his computer setup, surfing over websites, even doing some less than legitimate means of information gathering. On this particular night, it's been probably 8 or so hours that you've spent at the apartment with both Jester and Artie. Jester leaving to get some snacks, and Artie kind of pushing back from his computer, pulling up what appear to be these blue light lens goggles that he's wearing, that he kind of pushes up onto his forehead, holding back the long dreads that are atop his head, and he spins around in the chair to face you. I don't know what to tell you. I've looked into Pangloss, and their website is surprisingly sturdy and secure. Took me a bit, but I did manage to find a way in. And I don't see anything unusual. They've got an online ordering system, secure transactions. Thought I could snag a credit card or two, but wasn't so fortunate. Are we sure this is the right place?
As far as my research goes, that's where it led me. It made the most sense for the situation. But it could be anywhere, honestly.
Well, how are things going on your end?
I've hit a standstill. I done some research on Pangloss, which led me to Siren, which led me to another company. It's all just kind of leading to a mess, to a big web of several places, and I don't really have a foothold in a lot of places.
There's got to be a center to the web, right? Like a center point.
Right, right. It's just a matter of finding it.
I know that when I first met Jester, we were looking into a drilling company. Do you think? I don't know. It's weird how these kinds of things are connected. Like that center point ends up buying up all these companies, and with all of the connections we see from this one, I think we're getting close, but not quite there yet.
That's what I'm hoping for. We just got to keep looking. Eventually, an egg's gonna crack and it's gonna spill out a bunch of bullshit, and we're gonna get to the center.
He pushes himself up from the desk chair and kind of makes his way over to the kitchen. Are you thirsty?
Sure. Yeah.
He walks over to the machine and the vending machine and pushes a button, and you hear a can kind of drop and roll, and he reaches down and pulls out the energy drink. But then he walks over to the other side of the kitchen where you can see a little Mr. Coffee machine that wasn't here the last time you were here, seems to be installed. How do you like your coffee?
Black, please. Just black.
Okay. And he pushes the button, and you can start hearing the hissing that coffee machines make as the water starts to pour through. Well, I think it's time for a break.
Sure. Why not? And she kind of pushes her laptop onto the coffee table from off of her lap.
So, I've asked a lot of questions of you about the change and post-change life, but we haven't gotten into what it was like before. Tell me about yourself, enigma known as Aspen Weiss, Roof Slayer.
I like that term. Maybe we'll make it stick.
Tell me about your family.
Oh, not a whole lot to tell, I guess. Grew up with my mom, single mom, nurse. Mostly spent a lot of time in books and studying, and it's where I was most comfortable, I guess. But yeah, it's not a whole lot to tell. Kind of boring, honestly.
Are you gonna make me dig? Because I'm gonna tell you it's exhausting. And he kind of
Well, what do you want to
grins.
know?
Okay, what was your favorite book growing up?
Favorite book, Lord of the Rings. I still read it from time to time. It's kind of comforting.
Oh, you fucking nerd. I love it. And you hear him pour the coffee as he pulls the pot from the machine. Who's your favorite Lord of the Rings character?
Would it be too cliche if I said Legolas?
You hear the thud of the pot. Legolas, really?
Yeah,
You got a thing for pretty boys?
sometimes.
It's funny because I look at you and I immediately think Gandalf. You have so many answers and so much knowledge, but you're so fucking secretive about what you're willing to tell other people. And he kind of brings over the coffee cup and hands it to you as he one handed pops open the energy drink and then flops down on the couch next to you. Okay, Lord of the Rings. I like that. What was your favorite movie? Don't say
Favorite.
also Lord of the Rings.
Um, hmm. I really, really loved Lady and the Tramp.
You see him kind of perk up a little bit at that. Oh, from pretty boys to street dogs.
Usually they're one and the same.
Kind of scratches the back of his head amongst the dreads. Okay. What's your favorite number?
Favorite number? Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. 22, easy.
Why 22?
I just like it. It rolls off the tongue great. Um, 2 is a great number. Um, so why not double it, right?
And what were you like when you were 22? Fresh out of college, figuring out life. What was a young 22-year-old Aspen Weiss doing?
Studying. I was in school a lot longer. Um, just to work through law. It takes a lot of time. Been trying my best to get through some of it online, but with everything going on, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But I wasn't like I'm not a party person. I'm not a socialite. I was mostly just home studying, reading, uh, cup of coffee, and cozy blanket, you know?
And what would 22-year-old Aspen say to you now? Other than, the fuck, you're a werewolf? Werewolves are real?
I mean, there is that a lot of what the fucks, I'm sure. What have you gotten yourself into? Why are you in Florida? Um, who are these people? Why do you hang out with a weird golden retriever boy in your trailer of all places? You know,
And what would you tell them?
um, probably it's gonna get worse, but it'll get better eventually.
That's all we can hope for, right?
Yeah, it's it's working out surprisingly these last couple weeks. So
And what's your favorite color?
blue, baby blue specifically.
Baby blue. Interesting. Have you ever gotten to travel other than Florida? Which, some place people call a vacation destination, but that's more like Orlando or Miami and a little less Tampa.
Right? No, actually. moving here was really my first bit of travel.
Well, the first of many then. You know, once we get a cairn established and maybe a sept going, maybe we can go on a trip. Oh, or hell, maybe we'll end up in Oregon if things keep going the way they're going.
Seems like what's most likely going to happen. I feel like it's probably in all of our best interest to have Aiden grounded, in what we're doing, and having him his head in two places at once isn't gonna help when we need him to like really commit,
Yeah. I'm worried about him. It's gotta be weird not knowing what's going on back home and still feeling obligated to stay here. And I feel for him. I mean, I don't know him well, because how much can you really know about someone who was born a wolf? But like, I like him. I respect him. Kick my ass over a sandwich once, but still, he's a good guy, and I want to help him. I just wish there was more we could do on this end.
I think we're doing what we're good at. They're much better at the claws and teeth, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking for the both of us.
The fighting part, I'm not a big fan of it. But it gets easier, I guess, the more you do it. Just hope you only have to do it when necessary and not randomly. I don't like hurting people, even the bad ones. I think that there's always another way, and I try to find it, but it's tough. But you got to do what you got to do for this fight. You got to do what you got to do to keep being able to keep fighting and to support your pack.
Right. I mean, if I've learned anything in the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of things you have to do that you're not really wanting to do, but if it's for the betterment, I guess it's necessary.
So have you tried to change since?
No, kind of keeping those for moments I need to.
Not even just a run in the woods?
No, that's not, that's Aiden's thing. It's not really my thing.
So you like the human side more of being what we are?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because we've talked about how the change wasn't great for either of us, but my life was pretty good, all things considered. I really liked where I was going and liked what I was doing. And I guess that's a perspective that I have of being able to help and change like we do now. I was already doing that. That was what I was passionate about. So if I can keep doing it the way I was doing it, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it, the saying.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, you got a few more tools in your tool belt, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, it's just, yeah, it's not that I actively avoid, you know, running around as a wolf. It's just, it's not something I find necessary. I'd rather be this and walk in the woods and enjoy nature that way.
Well, maybe we can go for a walk sometime. You've got Lettuce Lake Park pretty figured out. You can show me where the nice places are, not where there's cans thrown in the lake.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's gonna be a problem anywhere you go, unfortunately. Humans are human, but Speaking of enigmas, you like to ask me a lot of questions. Like a lot of questions. Why don't you answer some questions?
What do you want to know?
How did you grow up? What was your childhood like? What was
Oh, not that dissimilar to yours. Single mom, me and my brother. I kind of had to do the raising part with my brother for the most part. Took him to school, picked him up after school, while also trying to go to school myself. So he was late a lot. But it was just kind of me and him for the most part. Mom was working really hard to provide a life for us and to give us a home to come back to, a roof over our head. And even when she was sick, it was hard to get her to sit still. She always wanted to be up cleaning, or she wanted to be, you know, trying to keep life as normal as possible for us. And it was hard, but we didn't need a lot. My brother and I got along, which is a is a good thing unto itself. I've known plenty of siblings who fight, and yeah, we got into scrapes every now and then, but he trusted me, and I was always going to look out for him whenever I could. Um, it's what made the change harder, because like that was, I felt like I betrayed that trust, but I know it wasn't anything I could control, and I've had time to come to terms with that. But I mean, we'd go out. We were menaces to the neighborhood, playing games and tricks like kids do, and uh, paper toweling, or I'm sorry, toilet papering, TPing some of the more annoying teacher's house come Halloween. Uh, we'd like to go to the beach a lot. Beach was kind of one of those nice places because it was one of the only times that the sound of the waves would drown out the sound of the city, because the city is always just noisy and you get so used to it. Like, I was born into it, so it's kind of like a lullaby into its own right now. But the beach was like this mysterious place away from it all, where you could just see a flat plain ahead of you. No buildings, no trees, no nothing. You could just look so far out. And I remember we took one trip out, and there was this pirate ship out in the water. And I came to find out that that was like a dinner cruise, or like some sort of sunset cruise that you could get out of Clearwater. And I always wanted to go on one of those. Haven't had a chance to yet, but it's still on the bucket list.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, go on a walk on the beach. I'm not a huge fan of sand, but it's fine. We can get you on that boat.
We'll get you some beach shoes. Sand's not so bad when you've got beach shoes. Or you could get one of those like fat tire bikes that you can ride along the beach. Then you don't have to touch the sand at all.
It's fair, but it still gets everywhere. Yeah, I hate sand. It gets everywhere.
Are you really fucking quoting Star Wars to me? The worst one? No less?
You know.
It's cute. Yeah, but you can kind of see him a little bit flustered as he fidgets with the can in his hand. Yeah, that'd be nice. And I mean, you're from out west. Maybe we're out in Oregon. We can see your old stomping grounds. I'd love to know what kind of trouble a young Aspen got into.
I can tell you not much, but yeah, we can
Well, then
take a trip.
maybe an older Aspen can get into some trouble to make up for young Aspen being such a fucking dork.
We'll see. Maybe we'll go TP somebody just so I can get the whole
You gotta get the
experience.
2-ply, because if it rains enough, it just gets wet and it just tears and like disintegrates. You gotta get the like really good thick stuff. Plus, that extra weight really gets a good arc on it. Whereas, like, it gets really windy here. If you have the light stuff, it just blows away, and then it goes across the road, and you got to go chase it down and wind it back up. I know a guy. I'll get us some good TP if we do it.
I had no idea there was a whole process and
Oh, it's a
calculations and
science.
such.
It's
Wow.
a science. You got to know like arc ratio and wind speed, all these things you got to calculate for. But yeah, we'll figure it out after all this world-saving business, or at least in a break in the world-saving business. What do you want to do? Like, if we do really well and things get established and we're able to have whatever sense of normalcy Garou can have, what do you want to do with it?
Well, I guess we build it back up, right? We get it back to, I guess, for lack of a better word, its old glory. Bring people back here. Have some others around, some others to help, some others to bring this area back to what it needs to be.
That I meant for you. What do you want for
Oh,
you?
for me,
Yeah. You're gonna keep working in the law office, go back to school?
I'd prefer both of those things. Yeah. I really like what I do. Like I said, I help people, and it's always been my passion, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So if I could finish my degree and become a full-fledged lawyer instead of a paralegal, that'd be great.
Lawyer and a leader of the Garou Nation tribe of Tampa. That's a lot of responsibility you're balancing there. What do you
Feel
think
like
about all
leader.
that? Like, genuinely, how do you feel about all that?
Um, I'm doing what I'm doing my best. I don't really know what to say about it. I don't feel like a leader. I feel like there's people there, all of you just are so talented, and to be the one making the decisions, and or in some ways making the decisions and having, I don't even know how it worked, final say, keeping the pack together, camaraderie. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying.
You're inspiring. That's what you're doing. You're inspiring. I mean, some would say that Aiden could be leader because he's the strongest, or Jester could be leader because, she's a go getter. Joseph could be leader because he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But you have this ability to be so present. Everyone else gets distracted. I've seen it. I get distracted. But like Aiden is, his mind is elsewhere. Joseph is, God knows what's going on in his brain. He hears things that I can't even hear. Jester, well, she's got a lot going on. But you, with everything that's happened, even up on that rooftop, we're so present. And I think we need that. That you are able to keep our feet in the ground, even if our heads are in the stars. You can keep us here. And your ability to make a judgment call while also considering everyone else. It's inspiring. You're very inspiring.
I appreciate that. Now I just have to believe it. That's the hard part.
Okay? And be present right now. What do you want most in this moment?
I don't know.
Well, why don't we start with something simple? And he kind of reaches over and takes your hand. How about just a friend to save the world with?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. And with that, you hear the doorknob kind of shift a little bit as the door opens, and Jester makes her way in, having returned from her trip to the store. Jester, you walk in and you see Aiden and Aspen sitting on the couch where they were, previously at their separate stations, busy working. You can see that the laptop is pushed off to one side, and that there's a cup of coffee kind of sitting on the coffee table next to the laptop. And Aiden is holding his energy drink in one hand and Aspen's hand in the other. And as soon as you make your way in, he kind of like awkwardly kind of pulls his hand back ever so slightly. Hey, how'd it go? Did you get the stuff?
I did. Am I interrupting?
No, we were just taking a energy break.
Yeah, energy break. Holds up the energy drink and then
She holds
takes
up her
a slurp
coffee.
out of it very awkwardly.
Right.
You all right? How'd things go?
So my boyfriend Leon found me. As honestly, the snacks are courtesy of him. He paid for them.
Oh. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I think so. He wants to meet you guys.
Aiden kind of looks slowly over at Aspen.
And you trust him?
Yeah, but he doesn't know anything.
Well, I would hope not.
I do.
I don't.
I've kind of been following him for the past week to see if he's been followed or contacted by anyone. Oh, lupus form, of course. And it doesn't look like he has, except for apparently the police did try to or contacted him to find out where I was, but he didn't know at the time. And he sent me a text last week.
Oh yeah, I gotta do something about your phone so that we don't have any issues with that. He holds out a hand.
Hand it to him.
He hesitantly, gives a look to Aspen, but then pushes himself up from the couch and walks over to his desk and pulls out a little box, like a little, almost like a toolbox, and pops it open. And you see him kind of pull out a tray that has a bunch of little like screwdrivers and stuff in it. But then he pulls out another smaller box, which he kind of shakes, and it seems to be full of SIM cards. And he sets that down and starts going to work on the phone.
So, yeah, he wants to help. He's gonna try by seeing if he could go to the police and ask for information about my friends.
Okay. What if we do this? Well, he's doing that and trying to help. Don't want to be the asshole in the room. But kind of prove that he wants to help and maybe if that's the case, then we can meet him and be friends and have a contact. But I don't really want to make new friends until we at
Get
least
things
figure
sorted.
out, yeah, get Aiden stuff figured out. Because if we're gone and we don't come back,
Yeah, I get it. I told him I'd talk to you guys first anyway, so.
You snore when you sleep, Jester, and it's very annoying. There, I'm the asshole in the room, Aiden says as he keeps,
Artie.
or Artie says as he keeps toying with the phone. Or maybe
So,
it's me. Maybe I'm the one who snores. Oh.
so, do you want to talk about what's going on between the two of you?
What do you mean?
I'm sensing some feelings. Oh, for God's sakes, you guys have been flirting for the past week.
Artie just awkwardly stops. Uh,
Do you need help with that phone? You get over there?
No, I got it.
Okay. Yeah.
And you hear like a click, and then, yeah, here. And he holds it over his head, but still facing away.
Take the phone back. Okay, maybe not. Did you find out anything interesting?
Nothing more than what we already have. So the Pangloss to Siren to Aesop to what is it? Megadon something.
Yeah, Magadon. They seem to have been the conglomerate, the one owning, or at least part. But there's something above them. I can't help but feel like there's just too much. I mean, companies get bought and sold and transferred all the time, but this one, there's a piece missing here. All of these companies, they're heralded as top 25 companies within the 2000s, late 90s, and the connections are what makes it weird. I know you buy up companies outside of your field, but this is a vast variety of companies. Some of them have connections, like animal testing and cosmetics back in the 90s did, but like, I don't know. I feel like I got to keep chasing down this lead. I've set up automatic alerts to tell me if there's any activity, that seems unusual, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on it.
Sounds like kind of the mess Steno was going through with Indron. A lot of mess. Like, they had several mining corporations under them, as well as others like that were through shell companies that just led back to Indron.
Wait a second. Artie kind of wheels over to his computer and starts typing rapidly, and you can see the screens popping up and changing. 1998 senatorial race. And he kind of brings up a picture where you see like a smiling politician, kind of almost like a posed photograph. Senator in Oregon won the senatorial race after getting sponsored by a PAC that had donations from Magadon and he clicks, and then it brings up a list of sponsors, but the one that he seems to highlight, Endron. Big sponsorship from Endron and Magadon both. And he kind of types a little bit more. This senator was the one who called for the investigation into Aesop that led to its closing. However, ASOP dissolved. Yes, it closed, but it dissolved, and I can't see where its assets went.
So the two are connected.
I think this might be another thread, but yeah, I think there's a connection here because this pack was sponsored by several companies, but two of the largest donors both seem to have connections.
So, is there a connection with the other companies as well?
Well, Pangloss is a subsidiary of Magadon. And Magadon was connected to Aesop. But if they sponsored this governor who investigated Aesop, they could have had a hand in the findings, maybe a forewarning that something needed to be done. So they sacrificed Aesop for the purposes of this, keeping this guy in power, making him look good. But if they had a warning, they could have potentially shifted all their assets over to one of the other companies. And those assets could have been passed down to the subsidiaries. Aiden, you've found yourself kind of wandering after that strange encounter. As you find your way back to the trailer and you find that Aspen is gone, you see a note kind of on the trailer door saying over at Artie's, and you, almost in a haze, find yourself drawn, making your way over there. That kind of conversation with Duncan still in your head, kin-seeking, kin-seeker, finding them before the change. And you find yourself in human form standing outside of Artie's apartment.
Those kind of shake his head, trying to get ready for social human conversations. Take a deep breath and then knock on the door.
Jester, would you get that?
Yeah, sure. I'll hop up and check through the peephole. Noticing it's Aiden, I'll open the door. Hey.
Hello. Hello. Can I
Yeah, come on
enter?
in.
Cool, thanks.
Hold the door open for him.
This place smells funny.
Yeah, it's clean.
Why?
Because I don't like a bunch of junk around.
Hey, it's not junk.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Hey,
Some of this can really be recycled and reused.
Nah, it's being used.
A stack
No,
of
we're
empty
sitting-
pizza boxes makes a great end table, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Or a house.
Well, I don't know about that much, but
Yeah, if you stack it, you can make a nice little den with them. And the residual stuff on the inside, if you get hungry, you can just lick the box. Boom. Double feature house. It was on one of those things that Aspen has on TV where you build houses and stuff, but you can do it with pizza boxes and then you have food.
Have you introduced him to a bed? Like a real bed?
Yeah, he doesn't like beds.
They're soft and squishy.
Like the most I can get him to do is the couch sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, really quickly, Artie, do you think you could get me free Netflix? Look over at Aiden.
Ooh, yeah, the big N thing. I go, bum, bum. Need that.
he kind of looks over, smirks, and then starts rapidly typing again, and you see a window pop up, and then kind of a Netflix website pop up, and then kind of an account get filled out and logged in, and then he reaches over to a little book, flips it open, flips through, and then types in a username and password. Yep, you're good.
All right, there's some people walking around who get it to do it on their phone. How? How do you?
I-
How do
I'll
you?
I'll I'll put it on your phone. It'll be fine.
All right.
But you have to figure out how to work your phone, so you're gonna have to sit there and listen to me as I explain it to you.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Artie, could you do the thing?
He holds his open hand out as he's still staring at the computer.
Are you not looking at people today?
We-
Hand the phone.
We think we found something that might help you.
Oh,
And he he stops typing for a second, fusses with the phone a little bit. Okay. All you got to do is pick the picture you like the most, and then that'll be what you're watching.
I'll be watching the picture.
Well,
That's not.
the picture is, yes, you'll be watching the picture. It's going to start moving shortly after.
Oh, okay. He'll sit there and he'll kind of sit on the ground, not even at the couch, just where he's at, and just drop down and start looking for a picture.
So, if Magadon is connected to Endron, which not very original on the names there, guys. You gotta end it. Okay. If those two are connected, something probably owns both of them. Because
Right.
Endron isn't a subsidiary of Magadon.
Right.
So now we have to figure out what owns both of them. What's pulling the strings behind them. But this gives us information. Because you've had a history with Endron, Jester.
Yeah. In fact, Bateman, good old prosecutor, he was the one that was represented him, I'm pretty sure. And he approached me.
Already types a few more keystrokes.
There's also a possible connection between them and issues with dams along the Snake River. We haven't found out a whole lot of information, but there might be a connection with that as well.
Well, if Bateman is connected to Endron, and they're connected to Magadon, which is connected to this particular company, this particular cosmetics company, we're going to have to pursue this very carefully. Because when you disturb one string of a spider web, the whole web is alerted.
I mean, we kind of did that already, didn't we?
But we're going to a different strand,
Yeah.
and we don't know what's at the center.
So then how do we want to go about that? How do we want to pursue that? Do we have any suggestions because I don't know if going in guns blazing would be smart, or going in through Joseph means would be an option, but also maybe not smart either. I believe no matter which way we go about it, it's going to be alerted. So the least amount of eyes on us as possible is really going to be our best bet.
What if you shook more than one strand at a time so the spider doesn't know which way to look?
Could, but that would mean we'd have to be separated. There's no way we could do that from the same location. I mean, we could kind of through some digital means. I could mess the books up in one of the companies, but I don't know if that's going to do it.
Well, Duncan is over there right now looking into the company. Also, he has a small group. He said he might even head that way. We may not have to be separated. If Duncan finds something, I can ask and see if he can help in some way, and that way we can shake two different strands at once if he's willing to help. He said he would do what he can.
Well, that also brings up the idea of you not being there when it comes to your family and how present you want to be in that situation.
I might be able to help with that too. My old mentor back in Colorado, she actually put me on to Endron. Maybe she could pull some strands.
Well, if I could get more subsidiaries local to Colorado and Washington, maybe we have them cause a ruckus with those while we move on Oregon.
Yeah, I should have access to some files. They're digital, so Artie, you might want to get them.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. It's just our research that it is, and it was put on a digital thing we could access.
I know we
Um,
weren't a fan of the prison break for your friends, but who's to say that wouldn't work for this?
I mean, it could.
If we get in quietly and just get them out. But we'd have to be really quiet. I mean,
Yeah.
knowing how these companies work, an asset goes missing, they just bury it. They're not going to go looking, especially if it's something illegal like animal testing. They're not going to make a big public show of that. They're just going to quietly bury it or make it disappear.
right. Maybe we get correspondence with your friends, because if we do get them out and do that, which I'm not like a huge fan of, but if that's our option, you guys think it's a good idea, we could go that route. But
Oh,
also
I
that's
meant the prison break for Aiden's family, not for.
oh,
We should
okay,
stick
good,
with what we're
good.
doing here.
Yes,
But
okay,
for Aiden's
perfect.
family, if we get Aiden's family out, they won't make a big show of it if some animals they were illegally testing on go missing.
Right,
Right.
right, exactly. Okay, good. Because I was really hoping we weren't going to do a
No. We're dismissed. That's Plan D, right?
good,
That's
good. Yes.
okay. Yeah. No, I meant we break out Aiden's family, but we have the other disturbances going on in Colorado and Washington, and as a very controversial thought, give Ryder a target.
That'd shake it up a bit.
Yeah.
Keep him appeased because he's doing us a
Right.
solid, even though it's one he owes us. We don't know that he thinks he owes us. And that he's not just trying to get a one up on us. So if we give him a target, one of the local subsidiaries, we give Duncan a subsidiary, we give your friend in Colorado a subsidiary. If they all hit around the same time, that'll be so much activity that, again, this is something they'll easily dismiss and let go of while they focus on repairing whatever the issues there are in those other places.
It's a
I
fair
like
point.
that. I like that plan.
Okay. So, I will find the subsidiaries, local and otherwise. Uh, Going based off of Magadon as a starting point, I should be able to go down to one of the lesser subsidiaries, low impact subsidiaries, ones that will cause enough of a disturbance, but not enough to shut off power in 3/4 of the city or kill a lot of people, but enough to get their hackles up, because if there's one thing businesses hate, it's losing money.
Right.
Right. And I can help with that. I can help with the research, figure out some good places to.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need it. There's a lot of legal jargon here that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, I'll get you I'll get you the information that we did. Might help find you some subsidiaries.
Okay.
And get in contact with my mentor back in Colorado.
Yeah, once we get the subsidiaries, we can kind of pass those off to you. You can talk to Duncan. You can talk to your contact, we can get with Ryder, get him having his hands busy while we're gone.
I might be
And
able to take care of Ryder so that you guys don't have to risk it again. We got by very nicely last time, but I can take care of that side if you guys just get with your people. Aspen, you look over the all of this, and he gestures up to a big contract that seems to be written out in very long multi-letter words. You decipher this. I can get word to Ryder.
Do we have a timeline on how long this will roughly take?
How long do you want it to take?
If you had asked me that earlier today, I would have said sooner than later. Something's come up that taking my concern a little. What do you know of kin seekers?
very little. I know that there's Garou that have an affinity for knowing before the change.
Yeah. Earlier today, I was seen after a hunt by a kid. He didn't seem scared at all. I started eating and he sat down not 25 yards from me and started eating his. There's a strange feeling as I was doing that. Uh, the wind started blowing, really cold wind that was kind of blowing up past him over me. So I took off thinking the wind was trying to take me somewhere else. The wind almost immediately changed as I got too far from where I was at, turned back around. And when I got back, the kid was gone, but I can't shake this feeling of this thing Duncan told me. It feels like a long time ago, but he is a someone who can tell what's going to happen before it happens as far as what we are. And it's a similar feeling to uh, what's happened before. I need to talk to him about it, but if there is someone else who needs my help here, and if it's going to happen sooner than later, there's something different about this kid.
Okay. I'm not well versed on spirits. That's more Joseph's thing. But was there urgency in it? Did it feel like I don't know how that works?
I don't. It was I don't know. I've had it's been a while since I felt something like that. I didn't know what it was the first time, and when it happened, I thought it was something saying get away from this because it was coming up toward over him, and so I was trying to get away, but then it like redirected back to him, and then I got flooded with uh, I don't know how to express what it was other than there's a feeling, a piece that is pulling to this. Uh, Duncan can explain it better than I can, but there's something about that situation that seems it needs to be taken care of.
Okay. First off, what did the kid look like? Any discernible features, anything like that? That way you can kind of keep an eye on him.
He was younger. I don't know age. He was a young guy. Darker skin. He said something about a zoo. He had The big thing with the lens, and it makes the clicking sound.
Artie starts
Camera.
typing
Yeah.
rapidly, and all of a sudden you can see he's on the Zoo Tampa website, and he goes to like employees and volunteers pages, and you see images kind of flying past as he's scrolling down, and then he types in some more criteria, and then brings up the volunteer program. Okay. He hits a key, and then all of a sudden a picture pops up, and Aiden, you're looking in the face of the young man.
Yeah, that one. That's the kid.
Okay. Terrence Thompson, a volunteer through the University of South Florida program. Mostly does photography, but also volunteers with feedings and tours.
Yeah, he did mention that it was weird having lunch without glass.
Sounds fun. Maybe we should go on a tour.
Well, if he what phase is Luna in?
Um,
I think we're close to a new moon, if it hasn't already passed.
Already starts looking it up like me.
I think it's Crescent. I think.
Yeah, waxing crescent.
Waxing crescent. Okay. Well, you said you didn't feel any kind of urgency about it.
I don't know. It's strange. The last time this happened, there is a duration. I can't really say how long it was. I just remember Duncan saying that when this happened, and a kin seeker gets the sense, the knowing that a possible occurrence could be happening, that it will be quick, but time's weird. I don't get it. I don't know how long quick is.
Well, Eliza has that big book of rites and rituals. Maybe she has something about kin seeking. I mean, as far as I know, they had their own, traditions that the seekers would do. I mean, I saw the seekers working at Moots and talking about the process and kind of performing traditions together, and that would kind of help give them an idea. Maybe you're just have a knack for it. Oh shit, our boy's the kin seeker.
Wow.
Yay.
I will say this though. Kin seeking is a very sensitive job because you're going to be there when it happens, and it's probably good that it's you because you're strong enough to make sure they don't do anything too terrible. But I've heard some stories that some kin seekers force the change.
I don't want to force someone to do that. I don't
But
even
you
know how
also
you
don't want them to
would do
change
that.
when you're not around.
I would say, again, that I mean, if you are and you're going to be there for the change, you probably want to meet him in this form too, and form some sort of bond with him, so that after the change, he's not like some stranger trying to guide him through it. It's already going to be hard enough for him.
Yeah, that would be strange. Just a random person there.
But also, can we afford to let this distract us?
Well, we can't really have a rogue Garou around either.
No.
He'd probably get killed.
So
Or
here's
do something stupid.
what we'll do. We get the subsidiaries worked out. right? You're gonna have to talk to Duncan anyways. So with that, you could talk to him. Also, use Eliza. Great point, Artie. See if there's anything she knows. She's been around for a while. So she might know some more. Use those
Yeah.
two avenues to really get some information, because if it's not as urgent as you think it might be, then maybe we have some time. If it is, then maybe we stay here. We work on some things with Jester's stuff, while also working out your family things while we're here, and then we will go from there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey,
As far,
So-
far as I've heard, it can take years, sometime months, and that they just kind of have to be there and watch and wait. So this could just be an early warning. It doesn't mean that it's going to be urgent. So let's see what we can find out. Maybe the right tells you when the timer's going to go off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool, man.
Actually, it is.
I'm sure it will hit me after this. I feel like another sense of responsibility, so I'm not overly thrilled about
But,
this at the
but
moment.
here's the thing. Who better to teach someone about the opposite side than someone who was born to the opposite side?
Yeah, I mean, you've been really helping teaching me hunt and hide and even move about and learning about wolf culture, I guess, has been kind of interesting.
Yeah, but that stuff's easy. I can't teach the human where I'm still learning how to do the human
Yeah, but that's what
Garou
the
thing.
rest of us are here for.
And that's
We're
what
n-
they already live. They live that every day. If they're a human turning into a wolf, the wolf's part is going to be what's unfamiliar.
Aiden, you're there to give them support, and I know better than anyone that you're fantastic at that. So don't doubt yourself.
Okay, thanks.
You're not alone
you're
in it. You might have the gift or whatever, the sense, but we're all still here, man. Like we'll help you. You're not doing it alone. And maybe it's not urgent. And Eliza's here. She could keep an eye on him while we're gone if we need to go somewhere. Like that's the benefit of a pack. It's not just you anymore.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Sorry for
No,
talking
it's
it out.
don't apologize.
it's fascinating, honestly. Like I've heard about it, I've heard stories, I've seen them talk about it, but I've never really encountered it myself. I changed by myself and it was fucking rough. It would have been really nice to have somebody like you around. So
Yeah, it's not fun changing from wolf to this.
yeah, it's got to be a little jarring,
Uh-huh.
especially when you start peeing on stuff and eating other people's sandwiches.
You deserve that and you know it. My
So
sandwich.
the pack has a lot to consider, but they have found a lead, potentially a very strong lead, that is going to take them out of town within the next few weeks. This is where we will bring our session to a close. Thank you so much to these incredible players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Stay tuned to Rage Across Tampa. Stay tuned to SPbN By Night. This week we have Don't Get Caught as usual on Thursdays as the Anarchs continue their struggles with one another and with threats from the outside. And then on Saturday, we have a very, very special After Dark where our webmaster wizard, Kyrie, will be front and center, and we can just throw praise at him and possibly pick apart his brain a little bit to understand how he's so good at what he does. Not to mention his accomplishments and experience with the world of darkness and TTRPGs as a whole. And then, very, very exciting news on Sunday. we will have the debut of Bloody Strings, a story told by Bearer the Bard, starring our very own malicious Jester on the Fanger side of things. And we'll get to see that incredible story, and I guarantee you it is going to be a very, very wild ride. So keep tuned to SPbN By Night. If you're not following or subscribed, go do that and go pay attention to all of our social media. Go follow these amazing individuals who you will see credited in the credits after this episode. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night, everyone.